Out of many social reformers in the 19th century Renaissance, Dayanand Saraswati was very different in terms of his political, social, and economic thought. He represented the revivalist trend of Indian Renaissance. Dayanand Saraswati, his original name was Mool Sankar, born in 1824. So there is a one generation gap between Raja Ram Mohan Rai and Dayanand Saraswati. When Raja Ram Mohan Rai was about to die, he died in 1833. And 1824, Dayanand Saraswati or Mool Sankar, the original name of Dayanand Saraswati, had born. So Dayanand Saraswati, he was very much inclined to the ancient religious text, particularly the Vedas. He came to Mathura and he learned the essence of Vedas from a blind priest, Brijanand. And after learning Vedas, he wrote 3 books in Sanskrit. All are commentaries on Vedas. Satyarth Prakash, Ved Bhashya Bhumika. And if we learn the social thought of Dayanand Saraswati, this is the time when British colonial historians were trying to impose the British rule in India, and they were trying to project the hypothesis, which is called Westman hypothesis, and white man's burden to teach the lesson of civilization to the barbarians. So Western civilization was considered as superior, and that was a justification of the British rule in India. But here, Dayanand Saraswati challenged them and said Western culture was never superior. It was Vedic culture, had a great sense of superiority. It was an ideal society, evil-free society. All evils had developed later on because of coming in contact with the foreign cultures. Therefore, we should incorporate Vedic society as a model for the present Indian society. And there should be homogeneous Indian culture. Therefore, the sense of cultural superiority led to the rise of cultural nationalism in India. You will find that most of the extremist movement of Indian National Congress, they were highly inspired. The extremist leaders were highly inspired by the Arya Samajist doctrine. So here, Dayanand Saraswati, he inspired the radical tendency of the Indian national movement. Lal Bal Pahal, they followed the doctrine of Arya Samaj. At the same time, Dayanand Saraswati, he wanted to have the homogeneous Indian culture. So he started the Suddhi movement, that is reconversion of those Hindus who converted to other religions, Islam or the Christianity. And therefore the ideas and dialogue of uniformity of Indian culture, it created apprehension among the Muslims and the Christians. इसको आप लोग टेक्निकल लैंग्वेज में घर वापसी मूवमेंट बोलते हैं आजकल. So it had created apprehension among the Muslims and the Christians. So, along with the cultural nationalism, it created the community consciousness and ultimately the rise of communalism. So, Arya Samajist doctrine had wide impact. One positive sense is the rise of nationalism, and one negative sense, that is the rise of communalism.